Welcome back to the Own It Show. I'm Heather Lee Chapman, your holistic transformation coach, and we are here with the one and only incredible Esther Sarlo, and she is here to help us get inspired to be the best advocate for our own health and wellness, not only how, but what to do. So thank you so much for being on the show today. Please tell us more about yourself.
Oh, thank you, Heather, for inviting me to be a guest on your show. This is fabulous. And I love what you do. You're so amazing at your coaching. So thank you.
Thank you.
I am the founder and CEO of Mynd Myself, and it is an online, of course, website that helps people demystify complementary, holistic, and integrative health. There's a huge amount of information. It took me 2 years to build this website, and with a very small team, not just me, I'm not a designer. And the idea is to help, especially women in their 40s and above, to feel seen and heard and supported in their health journeys. And also, not only information, but practitioners who can help them. There's so many aspects to this, and there's just so much to keep going. And I'm just thrilled to be bringing this information and the connection to amazing practitioners to the world.
I love it. And we're so grateful for what you do and for bringing this information and helping people be connected to the information to be their own best advocate. Because really, we are our own best advocate, and no one wants our goals more than we do. So we got to get out there and do it for ourselves. And yet sometimes we just don't know where to get started. And I know my mother went through some health issues in her earlier years, and it was a very similar thing. There wasn't the right resources and things available for her to get the help that she needed. And luckily, she found an incredible naturopath that was able to support her and then able to support my sister. And that took us down a whole new lifestyle path and introduced us into a whole new way of holistic healing. And most people won't find that on their own. And this is the amazing part where they have the mindmyself.com where they can go to and have access to, you said, podcasts, blogs, resources, practitioners, like so much, so that we truly can be our best selves. And we just need the right knowledge and tools.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power for sure. If we know where to look and we ask the right questions. One of my favorite authors, I know I'm jumping the gun here, but one of my favorite authors of all time was Madeline L'Engle. And she said, sometimes the questions are more important than the answers. So come with your questions for sure. And if you don't even know what questions to ask, that's okay. Come and the questions will emerge.
I love it. Beautiful. So tell us a little bit about your story and why you created mindmyself.com.
Happy to do so. And it all began about 20 years ago. Yep, 2 decades. One morning I woke up and my arm was a little bit tingly and sore. You know that feeling that we say, at least in North America, where you say, yeah, my arm went to sleep. Well, it felt like that. Like, and it wouldn't work itself out. Normally, if you shake around or you give it a little bit of a massage, things will loosen up and you'll go about your day. This didn't go away for a whole day. And so I finally called my doctor. They said, oh, just in case, go to the hospital and see what happens. Ironically, that was the day when all of the computer system was down in the hospital. So I waited there for over 5 hours. Finally, they said, I know you've got this thing. We'll do an ultrasound on you tomorrow. Go home, have a good sleep, do what you need to do and come back in the morning. So thankfully I did, because when I came in the morning, I found out that I had 10 inches of blood clot from here to here in my arm. And so they rushed me into surgery that day. And here's the kicker. I was asking them, so why did this happen? And what can I do to prevent this from happening again? And ultimately, although they did put me on blood thinners for about 6 months after this incident, which I wasn't happy to be on, but Western medicine saved my life. I'm profoundly grateful. But I couldn't stay on that for the rest of my life. And they didn't suggest that I should do that either, because it's pretty dangerous. And the other thing is they couldn't identify the root cause. So I've been on a 20-year journey, 20 plus year journey, to try and find some answers. And I had to stumble around. I didn't know what live blood analysis was until this happened to me. I didn't know about really what cranial sacral was. I had some naturopathic visits, but I didn't really understand what they did. So I stumbled around and tried all these different things, but I had no one single trusted source or place to go to find this information and go, well, maybe I should go down this path. And that's the root of it. But 20 years later, I've had there's those fireworks happening again.
Oh, the smart computer's not so smart.
Yeah, exactly. So about 20 years later, I'm still in the journey. I still don't know why it happened, but I'm sure a lot farther along. And 4 years ago, a couple of practitioners said, will you interview us because we need some content? And it emerged from there. And I went, the world needs a single trusted source. There's so much information everywhere, but how do you know who to trust? How do you know which rabbit holes to go down or not?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you know that the information isn't just somebody trying to sell you something, because we're not? The information is there just for you. And so this is all in a place where it's clear, it's clean, it's intuitive, it's beautiful, and it's there for you.
I love it. It's amazing. And I know that we were talking previously that there used to be a herb website that I love that had like everything, but there really isn't anything like this out there anymore or ever. And so it's groundbreaking. And one of the things that I love is that we're normalizing the conversation around women's health because I think you had said before that after the age of 40, a lot of women are basically forgotten about. And women's health hasn't been a commonly talked about conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we have babies, we get older, we go through this thing called menopause, and then we just die, right? Like it wasn't like, oh, here's a healthy way you can move through these transitions. Here's how you can support yourself. Here's how you can be an advocate for your health. It's just kind of like it is what it is. And so instead of that, we don't have to take things just as they are. There are other ways that we can better ourselves and our health. We just need access to the things that will help us get there. And that's exactly what you're doing with your website, as well as coming on this podcast show. So I know you've got some amazing tips for us. So let's dive in.
Well, first of all, I'd say get the conversation started. And this wasn't one of the tips that I wanted to offer specifically, but really truly talk to each other, women and men.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to each other, men. This isn't just women. Talk to each other. When we come to our 40s and 50s and 60s and beyond, I just turned 60. So, and they say 60 is the new 40. I claim that.
Yeah.
But if we don't talk to each other, then we think maybe we're the only one experiencing something. And truly, we're not. Yes, each one of us is unique, but there are so many ways that if we share, then we can feel not alone, and we can discover that there are solutions. Just because, and truly, you said that when women start to get 40, you get menopause and then you die. No, the 40s and up are, especially for women, I can't speak for men because I'm not one, but and whatever gender you are, but when we're in our 40s and up, that's when the richness of life becomes so much more self-evident, because we've got some of that experience. We've been through some life trials generally, and we have some wisdom. And if it's being crushed because we don't know what's happening with our hormones, what a tragedy, because then we can't offer this rich juiciness to the world. So the first thing is to remember that you are worth it and know that you matter. That's truly number one. And that's our tagline for Mind Myself, because you matter. The second tip is really to begin becoming aware of what's happening in our body, not just push it away, not just deny it, or listen to a doctor who might say, sorry, dear, that's just what happens when you're 50. You're going to gain 5 pounds a year, and just accept it. And there's really not much you can do, but here's a pill if you want to be on hormones. That's it. And no explanation of that, but just not, and there can be some great hormone therapy, let me clarify, but it has to be done right, and not just as a toss off or an incidental. But the more we can be aware of what's happening in our body, the more we can then look for solutions and talk to our friends. And really, like, are we aware when we eat that sugar or that chocolate bar? I'm not saying don't do it, but are we aware of what's happening in our body? Maybe just before the anticipation, or maybe during, it tastes so good, or the after, oh, that wasn't as good as it was going down, because now 20 minutes later or an hour later, I'm paying the price. So
Mm.
awareness, that's just one example of it, becoming aware of what's happening so we can do something about it.
And I think that's probably my favorite tip because your body is talking to you. My mom always likes to say, your body's also listening to you. And you have
Mm,
smart cells and they know how to heal themselves. We just have to listen. The body works in feedback loops and it's literally trying to tell you if it's out of homeostasis or its happy place. And it's giving you those signals. So if things don't feel right, then that awareness is now, okay, why and how can I help with that? And then there's a second component of really not only just being aware of what that is, but what is that root cause so that we can be preventative. But we have to listen and have that awareness so that we
mhm,
can actually get down to the things that are causing what is happening so that it doesn't have to be cyclic, because that's usually what it is. And then often, we don't know what feeling good feels like. So
mm,
I just wanted to say that as well. You might say, okay, Esther said be aware. So I'm going to start to be aware. Well, that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel right. I feel like this before I, go and binge eat, and then I feel like this after. So here's some of the things that are happening. But only when we create that awareness and then we start to do the things to help us make us feel good, will we really realize that we haven't been feeling good for a long time. So even if you're sitting over there going, I'm fine, you might
mm.
just not know what the really feeling really good feels like. And I still encourage you to go over and check out the resources and start to create some awareness in your own body.
Absolutely. And I think another thing that goes along with that is stepping into our power. And I want to say something very specific about this. Certainly in our North American culture, we have tended to live from the neck up.
Mm.
We value thoughts, we value words, we value the academic and the linear and the logical and the realistic and rational. And we've tended to live in our left brain and ignore some of the right brain. And we've also tended to ignore this whole luscious, amazing, intuitive, powerful instrument that is our body. We've heard about the heart brain, we've heard about the gut brain. Oh, there's that thumbs up again. But are we listening? You said that earlier, Heather.
Yeah.
Our body is listening to us with all those things that we're saying and thinking and believing. But are we listening to our body, and are we letting that mutual exchange happen? When we do that, that's when we can more fully step into our own power. And as we reach the ages of 40 and 50 and beyond, and we have so much to offer, what would it be like if we had the energy to do so, and
Yeah.
the heart to do so, and the desire? Because then we know what does feeling good actually feel like. We have to be aware of what not so great also feels
Mhm.
like. And I
Mhm.
know one of the doctors that we work with a lot on Mind Myself, her name is Dr. Vicky Mondlock, and she's from the United States, and she talks about hormone balancing, and not just the sex hormones, but she talks about insulin and cortisol and the thyroid. And if those are all not balanced properly, then the legs of the chair, is the image she uses, then if one of the legs is off, then we're going to be sitting askew. So when we start paying attention, that's when we can step into our own power. Oh my gosh, the AI is just working with us today. Let's just do that. And then
Going with it.
I know, right? And then that helps us be more clear about what we need and what we want, because
Yeah.
that's really important in order for us to ask the questions and make the next choices.
So she said that tip really quick, but in case you missed it, you need to be clear on what you need and what you want, right? The first thing in getting what you want is knowing what that is. And their clarity is in, the difference between knowing what feeling good feels like and not so good. And so what is it that we truly desire? Because we can't seek the support or the knowledge if we don't know what it is that we're actually looking for. So absolutely, absolutely love that. Start to create some clarity around what it is that you want and also what is it that you need. And then
Yes, then ask for it. And maybe you've never asked for it before in your life, but guess what? It's time to start. And it's never too late. Now is never too late to start asking for what you want.
Absolutely. And ask your friends, ask your practitioners, ask people in the community, because when we come together, two or more minds come together, a third energy is created and resources can be provided, connections can be provided. So I just want to remind everybody, you're not on the journey alone. A lot of the time, so many other people are going through similar things, but we're too afraid to be authentic and share it. And then we feel like we're in our own little bubble. So you had said before we kicked us off, like, talk to one another. So I think that's so important. And even in asking in one another of, what does it look like for you? Here's what I'm experiencing. What have you done? Here's what I've tried. And maybe you don't agree on it, but we can all agree to disagree, and we don't have to be disagreeable. But you can gain access to so many more resources if we actually talk and share. So I'm just going to read those tips one more time because I want you guys to keep this in your mind. You are worth it and you matter. Become aware of what's happening in your body. Step into your power. Be clear on what you want and need, and then ask for it. I love it. So is there anything else you wanted to add to that? And then tell us, you said about that author. Tell us a little bit why they should check that out.
Okay. Before we get to the author, I do want to say the reason this is so important to become your own best health advocate, and it applies across the board as well, but to become your own best health advocate is so critical because doctors will only know so much. And I'm going to read a quote by somebody who wrote a Harvard health blog. Her name is Carolyn A. Bernstein. And she says, and I'm going to read it so I get it accurately, physicians study for years to become doctors and bring their scientific knowledge and clinical acumen to the office and the bedside. Patients, or us, may not have those skills, but they know their own bodies, tolerance for treatment, and manner in which they are comfortable receiving care. And the more we do those 5 things that Heather, you repeated again, the more we can talk to our friends and talk to each other and know what we want and need, then the more informed we can be when we do have to engage with medical practitioners, whether it's Western medicine, conventional medicine, or whether it's the complementary side of things. Those can work hand in hand. And the more we can become our own best health advocate, the farther along in the journey that we can be. And you can get help along the way. Bring a friend. Bring a friend to an appointment if you get white coat syndrome. Just saying, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
So back to my favorite author. I actually have 2, and they're very different. And I learn best by story. I have to say, Heather, I could read self-help books, but I spend so much time in this world that I live in with Mind Myself. Sometimes I just want to listen to stories. And I remember, because it's more the gestalt, it's the feelings, it's the thoughts, it's the emotion, it's the conflict, it's all of those things, the sensory descriptions. My favorite author is Madeline L'Engle, and I got to meet her and spend a week in her presence once in Salmon Arm, BC. And she's now no longer with us on this earth, but I love her novels. Fantastic. She wrote A Wrinkle in Time that got made into a movie.
That is a really good movie too, by the way.
Yeah, and she challenges the status quo, and I love that. And her journey has been amazing. And then the other author I really love is Diana Gabaldon. She wrote the Outlander series, and I met her just on the side one time at the Surrey Writers Conference a long time ago. And she talks like Mickey Mouse, and she's super smart. She has a PhD and she's writing these incredible novels. And I just learned so much about the human condition. That's why I
Mhm.
love those two authors. They're full of heart, they're full of wisdom, they're full of humanity. Nobody's perfect and everybody learns no matter who they encounter. And so those are the two authors that I love.
And what beautiful messages. I love that. And so just give them all a reminder of why they want to go check out mindmyself.com right now. And that's
Yep.
the day right now. Go check it out and give us a little reminder why we want to go and use this website regularly.
Fantastic. It's such a source. You can go to Google or wherever else to find information, but this consolidates and puts it in one place that makes it easy for you. And you can trust it because we credit our sources. And it's connected to medical databases if you do want to go look at the science. But we do have podcasts. There are over 80 there right now at the time of this recording. There are a number of blogs. We have recorded 13 events in the last year and a couple of months that you can go look at the recordings, and they're with practitioners. When do you get to listen to three medical practitioners talking about particular issues like hormones or sleep or heart health or bone health? And the next one that's coming up is June 14th, as I said, and it's all about skin health and aging and what we can do. So come visit, come back regularly, share it with your friends, and you will so learn about becoming your own best health advocate and what you can do to take next steps.
I love that. So let's start thriving in our life instead of barely surviving. And it
Mm-hmm.
all starts with being your own best health advocate and getting clear on what feeling good feels like. And having access to this knowledge is power. And you want to check out the website regularly so you can see what upcoming events they have going on, because they've always got so many things going on and you want to stay in the know. So make sure you check out the website, go to mindmyself.com. Get
Mm-hmm.
yourself access to incredible knowledge and power, and truly take your power back in your health journey. So, thank you again so much for being on the show today and for all that you do and this incredible resource you've created.
Thank you so much, Heather. May I leave with a quote?
Absolutely.
Gold Poretsky says, do something every day that is loving toward your body and gives you the opportunity to enjoy the sensations of your body. Do something every day that you enjoy.
I
And
love
I
it.
know that we at Mind Myself do this because you matter.
I love it. Absolutely beautiful. You all matter. So thank you again for being on the show. And remember, everybody, stay happy, healthy, wealthy. And what is the best that can happen? We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.